RRPC7YV asks.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, clever person. I know that
Doesn't
person.
say where it's
For,
from.
this question says, for Cleo Pascal, are you of French origin?
J'apprécie la question, puis ça me fait plaisir de vous répondre, mais je ne suis pas.
It's like nails on a chalkboard. It's just grating.
I am not, and it's that that cunning little K that slipped into the Pascal that will tell you that it was actually a much longer Eastern European name that got effectively Ellis Island, so to speak, on passing the border. So I am not, but I did grow up in rural Quebec, and I went to French schools for the first 11 years of my education. Ça suffit?
I guess. Yeah. And you were always nice enough to bring us some maple syrup sometimes.
J'essaie.
Yeah.
Do you want me to answer all the rest of the questions
No.
in French?
No, that's less than
As long as
ideal.
we don't have to answer them in French, you can feel free to answer them in French, as far as I'm concerned.
Dwayne Lukasek asks, will the U.S. organize a recreation of the old CETO-like treaty, including India, Vietnam, and others, against China to show unity? Today, these countries seem disorganized in their response to Chinese aggression.
So what the U.S. seems to be doing is creating a bunch of mini-laterals. So we saw it recently with the Japan, South Korea, U.S. thing that's been going on. But I can tell you from the Indian perspective, they feel like they're not being included. So, and in fact, they feel like the Quad is in abeyance. Quad needs top-level meetings, and there was one that was scheduled for early this year in Delhi, but President Biden couldn't attend, canceled. In retrospect, that may be for health reasons, and that was a concern at the time, that was one of the reasons. But without that kind of top-level leadership, the feeling is that the Quad is not all that it could be at the moment. And similarly, the feeling is that, and you hear this a lot in Indian strategic circles, that the U.S. is pushing ahead with a lot of these other clusters like AUKUS or Japan, South Korea, and others. There are others as well, but none of them are including India. So that's disconcerting. And there's some other things going on as well. There's, for example, I don't know whether there's going to be a question about Bangladesh, but during the depends also on when this is going to air, but there have been some real problems in Bangladesh. The prime minister fled the country, and in the immediate aftermath of that, there have been just horrific targeted attacks on Hindus, like just the most horrible, heartbreaking things are going on, and there's been at this point, or a few days out, very little response from the U.S. on that, and that's making the Indian strategic community talking openly about what the U.S. role could have been in what was going on. That's the level of lack of trust there is right now with the U.S. Because remember, there was the whole thing with Afghanistan, where $80 billion worth of weapons were left behind in the hands of people who are not fond of India. Then there's this lack of engagement with the Quad. So in terms of these alliance things, for me, if you are really serious about China, you want to work with India. India is redesigning its military. It's banned TikTok. It's banned WeChat. It's very far ahead on understanding PRC political warfare. And the messages that are being sent, or that the messages that are being, to be accurate, received by the defense and strategic community in India is that the U.S. is not, at least State Department, maybe defense, but State Department is not serious about engaging with India on this stuff.
I mean, they should just be patient. We don't really have a president right now.
Yeah.
As a couple months, we'll have someone.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So yeah, and it's useful to read the Indian press to see what they think about the various options.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and what that might mean for India. And a lot of it is in the context of China. So they'll look at Harris Walt's ticket in the context of what do they think about China? Because from that strategic community's perspective, if you're not worried about China, you're not going to take India as seriously as you could. If you are, then you do. So it's India should be taken on its own merits, but it tends in Washington, at least in the strategic community, to be a byproduct of that individual's view of China.
Shelley,
Next
you
question.
another question?
Or any thoughts on that? What do you guys think about these?
No, we don't have any thoughts. You're trying to turn this on us again, Cleo.
Yeah.
We didn't invite you on so we could talk amongst ourselves. We do that plenty. But usually the direction goes in talking about Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, so I heard that that you described the ending to Shelley and it was like 10 minutes of spoilers.
Yeah, that got cut.
Oh, okay.
Were you...
I'm interested.
You're interested in Battlestar Galactica spoilers? Did
Hey,
you watch this?
so Shelley, you want to pick a question out of the hat?